I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 10 years in Florida State Prison.
I don't give what you say about Nunu. Oh God. What you niggas say about Nunu? Yeah.
The YNW camp got the rap world buzzing with some serious drama. Word is, Bortlen just flipped on his own day one with a plea deal that leaves Melly stuck in a nightmare behind bars. Loyalty gone in broad daylight. Bortlen's choice sealed Melly's fate. Instead of standing tall, he grabbed 16 years to save himself. Now Melly's staring at the possibility of life in a concrete cage, betrayed by someone he grew up with. It all traces back to October 26, 2018, when prosecutors say an execution-style hit went down. YNW sack chaser, just 21, and YNW juvie, only 19, were found shot multiple times inside a rented Dodge Journey in Miramar, Florida. That night lit the fuse for the ultimate betrayal-rocking YNW today. Here's where it gets wild. Prosecutors claim YNW Melly and his boy YNW Bortlen were the ones behind the trigger. Courtroom footage showed all four leaving the studio that night, and the state painted a chilling picture. Melly allegedly sat in the back seat and opened fire on his own crew, hitting them up to 10 times each at close range, while Bortlen drove. But it didn't stop there. Prosecutors say they rode around for 2 hours with the bodies, staging it to look like a drive-by. They even shot into the car from the outside and cooked up a story about getting ambushed near a canal before finally bringing the victims to Memorial Regional Hospital, where both were pronounced dead. The evidence stacked up heavy. GPS put them at the scene. Ballistics tied shell casings to a gun linked to Melly. Surveillance caught movements, and phone records proved no rival shooter existed.
So this resting angle in this seat, you have the projectile coming in, exiting through the top of the skull, and then continuing through the windshield. Christopher Thomas was already deceased when these rounds were coming into the back of the vehicle because Christopher Thomas was what we would call crumbling. He was starting to fall, if you will. On top of that, I know that he was already deceased because the back of his back, essentially, the rounds that are in his back, have no blood in them. My determination was that this is not a drive-by shooting. The shooter is at a stationary position when all but one of these rounds are going in.
Still, Melly's defense spotted an opening. When both he and Bortlen were arrested on February 13, 2019, they faced 2 counts of first-degree murder, charges carrying either life or the death penalty. Melly's first trial kicked off in October 2022, with his lawyers hammering one bold defense. He wasn't even in the car when the shooting happened. The defense tried to sell the jury on a drive-by by unknown rivals, pointing to bullet paths that looked like outside shots. That alibi was Melly's lifeline, and it almost worked. The jury deadlocked in July 2023, reportedly leaning toward acquittal. For a moment, it looked like he might walk free, but the game flipped on September 9, 2025, when Bortlen shocked the Broward County Courthouse. He accepted a plea deal that had been sitting since September 4th. Instead of risking multiple life sentences, he pled no contest to accessory after the fact and witness tampering. 10 years in prison, plus 6 on probation, 16 years total, way lighter time.
And it's my understanding that you want to resolve both cases today. Is that correct? And that resolution is an agreement you've reached with the state, the terms of which are as follows. Number 1, in the 19 case, you're going to plead no contest to both counts of accessory after the fact. In the 23 case, you're going to plead no contest to all 4 counts as charged. In exchange for that, the state is going to null process, that is, drop the 2 first-degree murder counts. All right, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. Yes, sir.
But it came at the cost of betraying his day one. Here's the real sting. Part of that deal forced Bortlen to give a sworn proffer to prosecutors. In it, he reportedly confirmed Melly was in the car during the shootings, nuking the entire defense that saved him in the first trial. Now, the prosecution has an eyewitness, the alleged driver himself, placing Melly right at the scene when shots went off. The betrayal has everyone labeling Bortlen a snake. The timing made this betrayal hit even harder. Bortlen's trial was set to start the very next day, yet at the last minute, he caved and grabbed the deal. He stalled until the final hour, maybe thinking his defense could hold, then folded when reality set in. A proffer session usually runs 1 to 2 hours, where prosecutors grill you on every detail. That meant Bortlen had to break down what happened that night, including Melly's presence and actions. Streets lit up instantly with snitch talk, and it cut deep because these weren't random co-defendants. They were childhood friends from Gifford, Florida, who rose in the rap game together. Victim's attorney John M. Phillips even tweeted, as predicted, Bortlen took the plea. He agreed to a proffer, which means he's talking. That sent hip-hop fans into overdrive. In street culture, giving up info on your day one is the ultimate violation, and the last-minute timing made it sting worse. Bortlen signed hours before jury selection, then dipped out of the fight. Once word spread, the rap world erupted, and Tekashi 6ix9ine, who knows a thing or two about snitching, couldn't resist chiming in on YNW's downfall. When Bortlen copped his plea, fans said Melly was finished, and the sting hit harder coming from someone branded a snitch before. Social media lit up with comparisons to Gunna's 2022 plea in the YSL case, calling it a Gunna move. Hashtags like hashtag YNW Bortlen Snitches racked up over 500,000 mentions. Posts blasted him with lines like 16 years ain't worth snitching on your brother, and dubbed him YNW snitching.
And state, is it the same terms that you discussed previously? Is there anything different?
No, Your Honor, that has changed. Just correctly reflect on the forms.
So the preforms to me look like on the 19th case, as to the 2 counts of accessory after the fact, as well as to all 4 counts in the 23 case. These are going to be adjudications, 10 years Florida State Prison, followed by, that's a 6 years probation?
That's correct.
6 years probation. All counts will run concurrently, all sentences run concurrently with one another.
The betrayal cut deep because YNW always pushed loyalty and unbreakable bonds. Now that image was cracked wide open by one of their own. Legal analyst S.G. Batman said straight up, this impacts Mel's trial. Meanwhile, the rap world debated if Bortlen had no choice, or if he should have stood tall beside his day one. Adding fuel to the fire, Bortlen's attorney Fred Haddad tried damage control. I don't represent snitches. Cortland Henry is not a snitch, and he will not be cooperating or testifying in Melly's trial. But the streets weren't buying. Everyone knew the plea required a proffer, meaning Bortlen already gave prosecutors the details they needed to use against Melly in the retrial. The legal fallout is huge. In Melly's 2027 retrial, prosecutors can now lean on Bortlen's proffer to back up the ballistics. 14 shots fired from inside the SUV. They'll highlight hospital footage showing no signs of an outside drive-by. And most damaging, they've got an eyewitness account from the alleged driver himself, detailing everything from the shooting to the staged scene. The timing couldn't be worse. Melly's been stuck in Broward County Jail since February 2019.
Just putting together. He stole from you? He kind of switched around, issues or nothing. He lived with you or? Nah, he just came down there just
Already fighting an uphill battle. His retrial is now pushed to January 2027, and Bortlen's testimony could plug the very holes that caused the first mistrial. Melly's odds of walking free just nosedive. Once a star with the world at his feet, he now stares at the real possibility of never breathing free air again. As of September 10th, 2025, he's been locked up for 2,405 days, more than 6.5 years behind bars without a single murder conviction. To put it in perspective, Melly's been locked up longer than some people serve for actual convictions. The most brutal part is watching his reactions in court when judges remind him how much time he's lost. In January 2025, during a bond hearing, Judge John Murphy said he'd been in custody for 2,159 days, and Melly's shocked expression went viral. You could see the disbelief in his face, like he couldn't process years of life disappearing inside a cell. Life in Broward County Jail is pure psychological punishment disguised as procedure.
He's now been sitting in our jail for 2,159 days. So how long would you like to be able to make that decision?
I can't determine when the investigation will be over. That's up to the Broward Sheriff's Office, but I can have them, as I said, I'm just asking for a week to determine whether or not we file any sort of motion to prevent the search warrant from being over.
I just can't imagine the legal grounds for that would not happen in this particular case.
Melly's held in protective custody, 23 hours a day locked in a 6x9-foot cell. 1 hour of rec means pacing in a cage or a small gym. He can't mix with general population, which cuts down on violence but turns the isolation unbearable. The routine is numbing. Breakfast through a slot, cereal or fruit. Lunch and dinner, more of the same. Sandwiches, beans, rice, eaten alone. His mother, Jamie Demons King, has spoken out about him getting inconsistent access to clean clothes and hygiene. He gets 1 shower a week and has to buy soap or shampoo from commissary with family money or scraps he earns cleaning. Visitation is heartbreaking. Since COVID rules, he's limited to 30-minute video calls weekly with family. No in-person hugs, just a screen. Phone calls cost over $10 for 15 minutes and every word is monitored. Court hearings are the only time he sees loved ones, like June 2025, after 2,320 days locked up when he tried to show emotion to his mom, and the medical situation, straight up neglect masked as healthcare.
So the thing is, I'm a little emotional because I just found out, when all of you just found out, about his trial being delayed to 2026, I guess. And I guess because of that, they are not communicating with me. So I don't know what's going on in his case. And Jamil still has no phone calls and he has no communication whatsoever. And I'm sure he doesn't know that I don't know what decisions they're making and things that they're doing. And at this point, I don't know.
In February 2024, Melly filed a federal lawsuit seeking over $1 million, claiming cruel and unusual punishment inside Broward County Jail. The details are disturbing. A broken hand left untreated for months, an abscessed tooth yanked without proper anesthesia, and mental health meds denied on the regular. The jail itself is a nightmare. Under a federal consent decree since 2013 for unconstitutional treatment, reports describe moldy cells, backed up toilets, contaminated food, rodents, and unbearable heat with little air conditioning. Add in nonstop banging and yelling, and it's an environment designed to break people mentally. Melly's hope keeps getting crushed in court too. Bond's been denied multiple times, most recently in May 2025 after 6 years behind bars. His lawyers even offered house arrest with ankle monitoring and 24/7 bodyguards funded by his label, but judges call him a flight risk and point to witness tampering charges. The endless delays feel like psychological warfare. His retrial has been reset again and again, now pushed to January 2027, meaning he could hit 3,000 days, more than 8 years in custody, before a verdict. Arrested at 19, he's now watching his entire 20s vanish behind bars. His lawsuit pulls back the curtain on systematic abuse that few on the outside ever see. Melly's lawsuit painted a grim picture. 23-hour solitary confinement he called torture, untreated injuries from a broken hand and dental abscess, food so bad it allegedly had maggots, showers with black mold, and guards using pepper spray on him in 2022. The case was partly dismissed in July 2025 because he has to exhaust state remedies first, but it exposed conditions many say would be inhumane even for convicted prisoners, let alone someone still legally innocent. The toll is obvious. His mother told Complex in 2024 that he's become more withdrawn, plagued by nightmares and weight loss. Courtroom clips show him breaking down in ways fans never saw before, like that viral moment when he realized how many days he'd been locked up. His creative voice has gone quiet too. After 2020's Melly vs. Melvin, which relied on pre-recorded vocals, nothing new has dropped in 2025. The silence is deafening from someone who once had Billboard hits. And while free Melly campaigns still pop up online, the movement's lost steam as the years drag on without closure. What's wild is how Melly's legal team keeps flipping. In August 2025, he dumped his lawyers and hired Drew Findling, the same attorney who once repped NBA YoungBoy. Part of the shakeup came because his old lawyer was under criminal investigation, but it also shows just how desperate the fight has become. Switching lawyers this deep into a case usually screams trouble. Melly's been stuck in pretrial limbo so long that the psychological toll is undeniable. He went from a rap star with millions of streams to a man counting days on a jail calendar watching his youth drain away while court dates keep sliding. Now, with Bortlen's plea threatening to seal his fate, the stakes couldn't be higher. If convicted in January 2027, Melly faces life without parole or even the death penalty. And if by some miracle he walks free, he'll still have lost nearly a decade to pretrial detention. Either way, the damage is brutal. His prime years, his career momentum, and his mental health, all casualties of a system that feels less like justice and more like punishment before a verdict is even reached. Melly's criminal past and rap war history can't be ignored. His record looks like a warning about how fast the streets can derail raw talent. Trouble hit early at just 16, when he was arrested for allegedly firing shots into a crowd outside Vero Beach High School. Nobody was injured, but he still got slapped with 4 charges, 3 felonies for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and 1 misdemeanor for firing in public. The case got him expelled and pushed into homeschooling, setting a dark tone for what followed. While on probation from that 2015 case, Melly slipped again in January 2017. Busted for associating with felons and holding a gun. He was charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and sentenced to a year in jail. Ironically, it was during that stretch behind bars that he wrote pieces of his breakout single murder, On My Mind. The song dropped in 2017 while he was still locked up, with lyrics about killing and regret that later haunted him in court. After the 2018 murders, the track blew up, peaking at number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. But critics accused him of glorifying homicide. Now prosecutors twist his own music into evidence of his mindset, blurring the line between art and confession. Just months after getting out in March 2018, Melly and Bortlen were back in trouble, arrested that June in Lee County, Florida, during a traffic stop. Cops hit them with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and marijuana charges. He couldn't stay clean for even 6 months, showing how deep the street life still had him, even as his music buzz was climbing. But the real chaos came when Melly tried breaking into the industry and ran straight into enemies. Around June-July 2018, at Atlantic Records' New York offices, he reportedly got jumped by NBA YoungBoy and Quando Rondo during a label meeting. This wasn't just rap beef, it tied back to gang rivalries, with Melly's alleged blood ties clashing against YoungBoy's Baton Rouge crew. Reports say Melly, just 19, got punched and kicked in the hallway while trying to secure his deal. YNW Sack Chaser later called out YoungBoy in a video that surfaced at trial, saying they were ambushed. After the beating, Melly leaned on allies like King Von and Fredo Bang for backup, turning the tension into a proxy war. The beef spilled into music too. YoungBoy never named Melly, but threw shots at Florida ops in tracks like Vet. Quando Rondo rapped about jumping someone's brother in End of Story. Melly clapped back with lines about keeping iron close and haters trying to knock him down. What made it dangerous was how personal rap politics overlapped with real street politics. Melly's alleged G-Shine blood ties put him at odds with multiple regions, while jealousy bubbled inside his own YNW circle. That toxic mix helped set the stage for the October 2018 murders, a storm fueled by fame, violence, and fractured mental health. In 2019, Melly claimed he had dissociative identity disorder, saying an alter ego named Kevin committed violent acts, even the murders. His mother backed the story, blaming childhood trauma and drug use. The defense tried for a competency evaluation in 2022, but the judge shut it down. Critics called it a sympathy card. While supporters saw a cry for help, prosecutors countered by framing YNW as a blood-affiliated crew, citing 123 text messages tying Melly to gang signs. During the 2023 trial, they rolled out gang evidence, painting the picture of turf wars, rivalries, and internal beefs. This case was bigger than music. It was about territory, respect, and money, the kind of stakes that can get you killed. The rap world itself split down the middle. Kendrick Lamar referenced Melly in his Euphoria diss toward Drake, using him as a symbol of betrayal. Melly responded saying he was honored but shocked at the backhanded compliment. Kevin Gates called out killing friends as straight snake behavior during a Breakfast Club interview. And back in 2019, Boozy Badazz tweeted, "Pray for Melly, but if he did it, that's cold. Family first. R.I.P. to the fallen YNW." The betrayal angle cuts deeper because YNW always looked like brothers, not just business partners, which makes the whole story sting even worse. Sack Chaser and Juvie were young rappers who grew up with Melly on the same Florida blocks. But when whispers spread that disputes over money for Melly's rising fame fueled paranoia and violence, it showed how fast success can poison friendships once thought unbreakable. DJ Academics fanned the fire with viral takes, saying the whole saga proved loyalty is dead in rap. Online, the judgment has been harsh. Posts like daily reminder YNW Melly murdered his childhood friends rack up thousands of interactions. The court of public opinion has already convicted him, even as the legal system drags on. Adding to the chaos, Dante "The Gift" Taylor claimed in 2019 he was Melly's real father, demanding DNA tests and blasting Melly's lyrics about growing up fatherless as fake sympathy bars. It never turned into a full-blown beef, but it was more public ammo thrown at him during the storm. What makes it tragic is how Melly's talent got buried under controversy. Tracks like Mixed Personalities with Kanye West proved he could have gone mainstream, but the 2018 murders derailed everything. Instead of music defining his legacy, the headlines are about betrayal, blood ties, and violence. The street code violations just keep stacking. First, the accusations that Melly killed his own friends, and now Bortlen's plea deal placing him at the scene. The rap world is watching not only for the verdict, but for the cautionary tale. In this game, talent, loyalty, and even life itself can get swallowed whole. Convicted or not, Melly's reputation and YNW's legacy are scarred forever. At the end of the day, whether YNW Melly walks free or spends life behind bars, the story of YNW will always be remembered as one of rap's darkest tragedies, where fame, loyalty, and betrayal collided in the worst way. His legacy now hangs in the balance, not on the Billboard charts, but in a courtroom that could decide his entire future. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. This case has everyone divided, and I want to hear what you think. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.